Good morning! That's actually after, well, it's still morning technically because I'm a couple of minutes early. And welcome to Sunday Lunch with Pointy. What a weekend. It's been an amazing weekend. This car, feedback. Got a little bit of feedback from YouTube there. Right, so, as I was saying, it's been an amazing weekend of wargaming and hobby. We have had Salute yesterday, which looked great. Good friend of the channel, Johnny Vision, was over there for the first time, who won gold in the painting competition, which is really, really cool to see. And also, currently, right now, the Six Nations Age of Sigmar event is being played over at Firestorm Games down in Cardiff, and it has been an emotional, amazing event. I have been watching it over on Twitch with Rob, the Honest Wargamer, on the TS network, and it's been really, really good. My boys from Northern Ireland are looking for a podium finish. I don't think they're going to win it. They got a bit of a stuffing from Wales last night in the last game of the first day, but they're in for a chance. England are playing Wales right now, so it could be a bit of a humdinger, that one, and I don't think it's going either team's way. So we're hoping that they wreck each other to the point where they don't score that many points, and then Northern Ireland can get a cap of 100 points from Scotland and go into playing England in the last round later on today, and hopefully pull the win out. But it's all to play for. But I have to say, some of the best Warhammer was basically played yesterday by my good friend Chris Archibald with his Techless build Lumineth. Basically against Sweden in the second round yesterday, against a mirror match of Lumineth, but built with 3 foxes and a big block of sentinels. Archie lost all of his sentinels turn 1 before even doing anything. Most people would have wrote him off straight away, but nope, not Archie. Archie just taken Techless and went on a one-man mission to pretty much kill all of the Swedish elves and basically take a major win. Like, some of the best Warhammer I've ever been played. So big shout out to Archie for that one. I am going to switch over the camera to looking at down here, and then we're going to have a look at what I'm going to be working on today. So I'm going to do that now. So you don't want to see my ugly mug. So we're going to be working on Archeon today. Archeon the Ever Chosen. So I've been working on him on and off. So I'm going to try to do the cloak today, and get all of that done. I'm going to have to put a latex glove on, so I will be manhandling him. I've also been building some the first of 3 Varangard. These are really nice miniatures. Really are. They're chunky boys. They're chunky. And that's it's going to be pretty cool. I am a little bit early. So, quite early, to be fair. I've got my coffee. It's good. It's good. And I do have content. There's a videos to come up for the blue cloaks. Is going to be coming up. Should be tomorrow. It'll be going live. I just need to finish editing it, and then I can get that posted up. I've been a bit distracted with the Six Nations, as it's been such a absolute quality event. I actually do have it on the background just to see the final results. So yeah. Should be a good one. Right, let's have a little look. So what we're going to be doing here. I do also, if I get the, I do have the shield for Archeon ready to go as well, and I also have a little Chaos Sorcerer from the Underworlds warband, which I'm going to be using as my Sorcerer Lord on foot. So I base coated this with Memphiston Red, the cloak. So what I want to do now is I want to start building up these shadows in these areas here. Okay. and these areas here, but I'm going to use a bit of corn red for that, and the same as at the bottom. And then once I've done that, I'm probably going to use a little bit of burgundy, just to darken it down a little bit more. And then I'm going to get some Ink by Darkness and just pull that down for the shadows, and then we'll start building the highlights up using Evil Sun Scarlet, Troll Slayer Orange, and then some Ungor Flesh, because Ungor Flesh is actually quite a nice colour for using with reds. The sword is base coated, but I really do need to do something with that sword, but it's kind of scaring me, to be fair. So I'm putting the gloves on so I can actually hold him properly. Do 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 do. So just this part here, what I'm going to do is just going to get this colour, just going to pull it down and then feather this. Also, Hellbricht has been pre-ordered, so I will be doing that video series on him very shortly. Okay. There's a little bit of a fold just there. Just feather that out. Okay. And then, so looking at the bottom, so a lot of that's going to be in shadows, so I did start my Adaptus Titanicus stuff. Okay, so you got that nice little fold. Okay, just going to let these dry. So we're going to do, just going to get some burgundy, just a little bit, and we're going to mix that burgundy in with the corn red, and we're just going to darken down some of these shadows a little bit more. Just need to just gonna okay. Okay, I need to I don't need to do that, I'm going to do it on my phone. I do it on my phone, just need those to dry. So what I'm planning now is I'm going to get a little bit of that burgundy. I'm just going to deepen the shadows of the folds. I'm going to be putting a little bit of Ink by Darkness into this eventually in the more deeper points, but I've been playing around with burgundy, especially with reds, and it's definitely a nice little colour. A nice little colour. It's gonna be a nice quiet day. Feels like it. I was planning not to stream today because obviously it is Remembrance Sunday, and as a veteran it is one of a very hard day, but just getting those in. It's not the easiest model, and it's times like this I kind of wish I'd wished. Hey, hi buddy, how are you? I'm good. Yes, I'm now back on YouTube. I've been over on Twitch and has decided to come back to YouTube. Quite happy that I did make the move back, to be fair. So just getting that in. That's just going to shadow that a little bit more. Just feather that out. How are you? Okay. Yeah, it's been fun. Obviously, streaming, when I first started streaming on YouTube, didn't go according to plan. I didn't really know what I was doing. But to head over to Twitch, learn the ropes, and then come back and start doing it here. I want to try to get the channel to grow. So I've got a lot of content planned, some new videos in the pipeline getting worked on at the moment. And yeah, this past year my painting has improved. So I'm quite happy with the results. So hopefully I'll be able to deliver better content, better quality content and painting. But yeah, it's been fun. So I've been enjoying the Six Nations Age of Sigmar event this weekend, and I'm hoping I'm going to be there as a member of the team next year, if I can qualify this year. So this is what this is for. This is my Archeon, which is going to be for my tournament armies for next year. I love Archeon, so any excuse really to get him and paint him. So yeah, it's channel's taken a little bit of a sort of change. Obviously, you've got the little logo here, which is Pointy. My stream logo, which is cool. But when I go to the toilet or take a break, that's my Be Right Back screen. And if the channel gets big enough and we start getting to the point where I need to do merchandise, then Pointy is what that merchandise will be built around. Okay, so those shadows are looking good. What I need to do now is I'm going to get a little bit of that Incubi Darkness, and then I'm going to put a little bit of that in. What this will do is it'll add a little bit of green to the red, and that's really good because it adds contrast to the red, and contrast is very important. So it'll add a little bit of contrast. Now at first when you put it in, it'll look very purpley. And if you want to make like a burgundy type colour, mix like Incubi Darkness and Corn Red together and you'll pretty much get it. So, but what this will do now is just give me a slightly darker colour. Well, hello stranger, hello Ian, how are you? I'm back, dude, I'm back. I'm going to be doing a lot more on YouTube. Ah, cheers, dude. I am back. Just hoping that I can build the channel up, get more regulars. So I'm going to be doing 2 streams a week. I'm going to be doing Sunday lunch with Pointy every Sunday, and then on a Tuesday night at 8 o'clock British Standard Time till about 10 o'clock, I'll be doing a stream as well. And then there is new video content coming. Would have been a lot better if I hadn't glued the cloak in, because you know, you probably get to see it a little bit better. So just building up those shadows. So this is quite a large fold, so we can afford to bring that shadow up the side here a little bit, just by feathering it on, and then with a damp brush just feather that out. Just create that transition. I'm good. We ain't seen you here, but if this works out better for you, more power. Yeah, the problem is I was over at Twitch, and I've been over there streaming for the past year, and it's been quite good. Don't get me wrong. I grew the Twitch channel to nearly 800 followers. But the problem is, it's not me or the content I was doing. It's Twitch. Twitch doesn't really sort of expose new and smaller channels. It kind of just focuses on the larger ones. So you really have to be extremely lucky, do something that's very unique and out there, and to get sort of their algorithm to sort of spot you. And one of the other big issues with Twitch is the Warhammer tab that we all stream under is getting smaller. There's less people coming into it. So obviously if there's less people but more streamers, your numbers aren't good, and you're not on the page as high. So it's a little bit of it's quite frustrating. So I took a little bit of a break when we had all of the Games Workshop drama, only for about 3-4 weeks, and I went from an average of 20 viewers per stream to 3, and I couldn't get that back. No matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't get my viewership back, because there just wasn't that many people watching on the platform. So I made the decision of coming back to YouTube. I can put all of my content in one place. I can do my video content. Obviously YouTube are doing things like shorts, so I can do short form content, which I fired a couple of experiment short form videos up on the channel already. They seem to be quite good. They seem to be doing really well. So I thought, you know what, let's come back to YouTube. Let's stream on YouTube in a more regular fashion. And also I don't need to do crazy 6-hour streams on YouTube, because no one's going to watch that back. So I can do a couple of hours. It's nice and manageable. It's nice and chilled. I can talk to you guys. I can paint. If you want to see anything, then all you have to do is ask, and I can quickly do it here if I'm in that position of being able to do it. So yeah, it just made sense coming back to YouTube, to be fair. But I'm glad I'm back. I'm glad I'm back. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some Mephiston red. I'm going to start building these highlights up. I can drop those shadows down a little bit more later on, if I really need to. Now the scary part of this model is the sword, because I really want the sword to be like, really in your face and pop, but I'm scared that that sword is going to be, that in my head, I want it to be all flames all the way up, but it's trying to get the vision in my head onto the miniature. So at the moment, I'm a bit like, yeah, I'll deal with that in a minute or later. Right, so let me just let that dry. So what else I've been working on is I've started Adeptus Titanicus, so this is one of my first Imperial Knights for it. House Caesarian, Traitor House. Really quite like the sort of glowy effect in the shield and on the staff. And I've also started the first Warlord. That magnet fell out, so I need to put that magnet back in. For not much work barely done on it yet, just started working on the armor panels. So all magnetized, and but yeah, they're a bit of a beast. So I'm going to be doing a lot more Titanicus stuff, and my Age of Sigmar army, obviously, well, my second Age of Sigmar army for the tournaments this next year is going to be Slaves to Darkness. So I'm slowly building up some Varangard ready to start painting as well. So there's going to be some of them. But if there's any tutorials or anything like that that you want to see, then all you have to do is ask, and we'll get them on. Right, so we're going to get some Evil Sun Scarlet. Bro, YouTube is the same. Those top pros also suffer. Yeah, I know. But in YouTube, I can work with the algorithm on YouTube. So if I'm live streaming on a Tuesday and I release a new video tomorrow, then people are going to be coming onto my channel to watch that video. And if they look onto anything else and see a scheduled live stream, then they may click on it and come back and view me, or they may set a reminder and they may come. So I can influence what people come to my channel just by putting up new content. On Twitch, I can't. I have to go onto Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Discords, and build other content to essentially funnel them into Twitch, rather than just have my content in one platform. I have to do it everywhere else, and it's actually it's a lot of hard work for very little payoff. So hence the reason why I'm making the change of coming back to YouTube and then having entirely everything here. Obviously, I'm not monetized yet, which is also really good. So essentially, this is free content for everybody. You know, there is no monetization here. And when I do hit monetized, the only thing that'll be different is at the bottom of the chat box, you'll have a little bit where you'll be able to click on it for super chats, or you'll be able to join the channel. And unlike Twitch, if you want to subscribe to me on Twitch, it's a set price. So it might be $3.99 or $4.99. But here on YouTube, once I become monetized, I'm able to set those prices. So the first one I'm going to do is going to be for £1. You'll get access to all of the custom emotes and all of the live stream features and everything, and the content that'll be behind that membership wall that YouTube have. But I'm able to customize those for everybody. Can come in for £1 because I don't need to do this for a living, but I just wanted to make a little bit of money for my hobby, and so £1 seems to be quite reasonable. And then I can then do like additional layers. So for £5, £10, £15 and £25. for those people that just like throwing money at content creators. You know, it's going to be interesting. I'm not expecting this to be a massive success straight away, and it's going to need to be a lot of hard work for myself, but it's content that I want to do. Just putting that thin layer. So what this is going to do is I'm going to ramp up the highlights now in these areas, concentrating on more of the higher point, because I can use some of the Memphiston red. I don't need to brighten that. I can have that as my mid-tone. And then slowly just bring that up, especially here. See, what I can do as well near the end is I can weather the bottom of the cloak to make it look all dirty and nasty. I mean, the guy is the Ever-Chosen. I'm not expecting him to be, you know, smelling of roses and of Old Spice. He probably smells pretty nasty, to be fair. Just dragging that pigment out. But hopefully people will come and enjoy the work that I'm doing. And I don't think there's many painters streaming on YouTube either. Most, I think, just go straight to Twitch. Just building those highlights up. Right, so on this part here, you can kind of see where the light's hitting the top of it. There's a natural line in there in the model, so that's quite flat. So that's where I want this highlight. Need more battle damage. That would look more cool than clean armor. Yeah, I'll probably go back in and chip him up. I have started doing a little bit into this shoulder pad here, just as a sort of experiment to see what it would look like, but that's just coming back in with some very thin lines. See, I can have this quite bright and then straight into the sort of the dropping down into the shadows, because that would give some nice contrast between the light and the dark areas. And that should look quite good. But let that dry. And the same as up here as well. I can sort of just feather that out. But if anyone is watching who's not a subscriber, feel free to subscribe and ring that bell. Help me with that algorithm. YouTube really does sort of like that. And also I get to see if the notifications alerts work, because I've reset them all up with new sounds and everything. So again, got that nice line where you want to Get some of the light, but not all of it. Just feather that in. Going to be doing. I've had a lot of requests actually for videos that are sort of set for sort of newer painters. So I'm going to be doing a set of videos covering sort of different painting techniques. So it's going to be things like layering, glazing, feathering, things like that. They're going to be over on my Patreon page at the start, but after a couple of months, I'll just start unlocking them on YouTube. Nothing's ever going to be behind a paywall. So all you have to do is, if you don't want to do the Patreon, then all you have to do is just hang around and wait for a bit, and then it'll be up. So the light isn't really going to be massive on this part of the cloak because obviously it's underneath. So I don't really, because you're not really going to see any of this. So as long as I just keep it nice and clean. So like that part there obviously needs to go because that's a little bit rough. But you can get a little bit of some blending in. One more leave comments after the stream will help you push people to watch your videos. Yeah. Yeah, the algorithm seems to be quite good. I've had a couple of comments. I know something's working because I'm getting bots. I'm getting bots on my live streams. They're leaving comments, so I know something's going right because they only do that if it's been in the algorithm and it's been watched by YouTube. It's always a good sign. That's what started worrying me on Twitch because the bots stopped coming anywhere near my channel. So I was like, that's not good. That's not good. Right, let's go back into the top end. That's good, right. So I'll try to hold that so you can actually see it properly. So we're just going to start building up these highlights a little bit more. This paint is pretty thin. But there's loads of I find it really funny with some of the videos out there. You know, like how to get the 4,000 hours. You know, you need a live stream and blah blah blah. But the problem is that's really well and good, but you need quite a few people in watching for quite a long time for that to work. I mean, if I had 50 people watching me for the next 3 hours, then that would eat that 4,000 hours quite quickly, but you need them. But I will have to do other social media. Just not as much as what I would need to. What's that? A friend of mine got follow raided. A bot came in, dropped 1k follower bots on him. Oh, was that over on Twitch? See, this part here is going to be interesting. So, what I've got here is, if when you look at it, you've got this curve here, like that. So you've got this shadow here, but then you've also got this curve. So what I want to do, I have no idea what happened to Curse City. Yeah, that was like, the fuck? I think from what I heard is there was issues with them making the board, and they are like finding another manufacturer to remake it. As far as I'm aware, the company that made it went out of business. So what I want to do on this part there is I want this highlight to basically sit here. So I want this to be sort of slightly darker, but not as dark as this. And then I want this to be the same dark, like that. So I want that highlight to be here. But you'll start seeing those highlights start coming up now. Like so. Bro, I got big follow bot by Whisper. Yeah. Happens a lot on Twitch. It's really, really annoying. I think one of the worst I ever had was I got raided by a US streamer, and then I got raided by a load of bots. And for like 20 minutes, I had no mods on or anything. And for like 20 minutes, like all I had was hundreds of bots constantly just coming in. It was horrible. Like, and you can't deal with that on your own. So I literally had to go in and turn chat to follower only. So at least to stop them from being able to do it. And just explain that for the next half an hour or so, that's, what I had to do. And that it wouldn't be permanent. Then I'd turn it back off. So I'm not trying to dupe you into following the channel. I'm getting smashed by bots. He is pretty chilled. I don't think you get as much as that. Okay. So what I'm going to do, just going to sort of build this highlight up here. So remember, I want it to be sort of in the middle, like so. And then just smooth that out. Like that. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start getting a little bit of this Ungoro flesh. It's basically like that colour. It's really, really good for working with reds, because it's got like reddy properties to it, so it's not gonna absolutely annihilate that red. So one of the worst things to do is if you put yellow into it, it can turn it quite orange, and if you put white into red, obviously it turns pink. So you can do things like this with reds that I've got like more orange and As are my reds always this beautiful? Yes. Pretty much. When I go and grab a break in about half an hour or so, I'll get a couple of minis down. In fact, there's a couple of videos on YouTube. Some of the shorts for Bastion for the blue type robes. There's a video coming for that, and that'll be hopefully coming up live tomorrow. And there's my Black Templar Marshal. And that will have that's got a nice red cloak on it. So you really start to see that pop now. Gonna have some brew. A little brew. I drink and I know things. So again, get a little bit of that Ungoro flesh. Just pop up that colour a little bit more. Now, what I can do here is just on these little very thin folds, let's just pick them out a little bit. So I'm using my size 2 brush here. From Rosemary & Co Series 33. Really good brushes. Now I'm just going to feather that out a little bit. See, at this end there's a lot of little folds, so you can just pick them out with quite a brighter highlight just to get the definitions out, because it's mainly quite dark back there, because it is quite in a, you know, sort of, it is sunken down. Use that colour just to correct that little error. Just get a little couple of highlights at the back there just to sort of bring it up a little bit. Again, right, so you get them at the back there, so now you start to get some a little bit of definition in there. And then with this slightly brighter colour, what we're going to do is just going to bring that up into the more higher points. So this red is starting to get a little bit of a pinky hue to it, which the Ungoro flesh will do, but not as stark as, say, if I added white. So get the edge highlights done as well, feather that out. Start really sort of enhancing the definitions and the volumes of the folds. Like that. You can sort of start to see those coming out. And then up on top of here, very carefully, just a nice thin, just a thin line on the top of that highlight and that ridge. Sort of have a bigger one here and just feather that out like that. So that'll bring some definition into that area. Like so. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some of this Ungoro flesh very carefully. Just going to do this on the edges. Got a hair right in the end of that. I got a hair on the end of my brush. I got a hair stuck to the end of my brush. Start picking out those highlights. In fact, I'm going to use a smaller brush. So I'm going to drop down to my trusty size 1. This thing has got a really good point on it, so I like this brush. I'm going to feel really sad when I have to get rid of it, which probably will happen soon, because there's it's been going for a good 6 months, and there's not much hair left on this brush. I think it's literally like 1 or 2 strands at the end. It's a good brush. Okay. Just get a bit of edge highlight there. Just to bring that out. Kind of just sort of enhances everything really. Now, what I can do is I could get some highlights and whatnot, and then come back in with very thin lines. It would also be very easier to paint it if it wasn't glued in place, because that's getting in the way. So if you are going to work on your own Archeon, don't glue the his cape in place. Paint it separately. Yeah, what I could do now is get a lot of very thin layers and just start putting in some texture. So painting in the highlights and the shadows with different tones, just to add in some texture. Now you'd only really do that if you were going to go for a more top end paint job. You don't really need to do it on something like this, but it's something that you can do if you wanted. So just picking out those highlights. I'm going to do the ones on the inside. Okay. So you don't really need to do all of them. No problem, man. Thank you very much for dropping in. It's been a pleasure. Feel free to come back for more. Very carefully, just following the contours of the fabric, just picking out those highlights, because quite a lot of little folds back here. It's very foldy. Okay, so just going to run an edge highlight just along that. Okay, so you kind of get it there now. So you can run these edge highlights just here. Nice and thin. Again, just to sort of enhance those definitions and volumes. There. I'm quite happy with that. Now I can sort of just pick out a couple of these at the bottom here, but it's not It's not a massive thing to do these ones, because again you're not really going to see them. Kind of sort of just pick out the ones that you will. Because once he's on the mount, you know, you're not really gonna see underneath there at all. Cool. Right. Happy with that. An hour. Cool. Happy days. 1 o'clock. Right. Do need to get a fresh coffee, and I need to put the heating on because it's getting awfully cold. So the main part for Archeon today was to get that cloak done. Now what I want to do is I'm going to make a glaze of some Incubi Darkness, because there's certain parts that I really need to push down those shadows. So this part in here really needs to go down. There's some glaze that's on my hand. Just this will ramp up the contrast. Cheers, buddy. How's your Minecraft going? That part there really needs ramped down. Because that is really deep and should be really dark. Yeah, it's going. It's just me and White Rose most days. Right, let's really sort of ramp up those shadows. That's good. Now here, just gonna pull that shadow out a bit more. Just add a little bit more into it. But yeah, there you go. Quite happy with that. So what I'll do is I'll see what it looks like once I've got him fully on. What he looks like once he's on the mount, and then I'll weather him up for the things that I can see and what I can't see. But I'm going to go and make a fresh brew and get myself a fresh coffee. And then, shall I be brave and tackle this sword? Or shall I not be brave and just do the shield? Oh, see, my idea for the shield is each of the little symbols at the bottom. There's like a corn, Slanesh, Nurgle and Tzinch is having the glow of the 4 different colours. And then the gold, the black, and the leather and stuff. So she'll be interesting. Then I can actually glue that in place. I've just got these horns to do, that to do, and the sword, and then the little scabbard down there. And then Archeon is pretty much finished. Well, the Archeon part at least. Happy with edge highlighting. The armour come out really well. Right. Brew time. It's time for a brew. I need a brew. I also need to put the heating on because it's cold. Feels very weird not having Poppy around because normally she'd be sat between my legs under the desk, and it's kind of I kind of have to now put little slippers on my feet because I don't have a furry, warm dog laying on top of them to keep my feet warm. It's first world problems. Right. I am going to have a quick break. I will be a couple of minutes and I will be right back. Ian, feel free to go somewhere if you want. Anyone else that does pop in, I will catch you later. Well, thank you. It is pretty cool. Be right back. That's the stream starting. So yeah, one of the coolest things, what I love about Adaptus Titanicus is I have my Adaptus Titanicus Horus Heresy Traitor, and this book is awesome. If you are getting into Titanicus, all you need to do is get the starter set, because it comes with a rulebook, and either the Loyalist or the Traitor book. And yeah, it's so cool. I mean, like, how awesome is that front cover? But it's so cool because you've got everything in it that you need. So you've got all of your Legion rules. You have some nice pictures of your Titans. Pew! And it's so nice. I mean, there's some really cool stuff. It has everything in. I mean, like, look at that one. That looks beautiful. I would play Infernus, but I'm not really into them. They look nice on paper, on their designs and stuff. I mean, this is one really cool looking Titan Legion. The black and the bone. But I like big Titans, and Kratos is one that definitely does that. But you also have all of the corruptions and stuff, so you can start corrupting up your Titans. So yeah, which means Games Workshop's bound to release a plastic corruption kit with corruptions on it. Have we decided what we're doing yet? Are we going to be doing... fuck it, we'll do the sword. Probably going to regret this. I hate doing things like this on stream. Especially when I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do it. I've got reds on my palette, so let's do it. Right, I need some yellows. Euro yellow. I need some Euro yellow. Good. I need... what else do I need? I'm going to need some Evil Sun Scarlet. Probably a little bit of Corn Red, just to bring that down. And I'm going to definitely need some Fire Dragon Bright. Probably some white at some stage as well. Okay. Now I need to find some artwork references. So basically, the sword is like a big flamey sword of death. Hence, that like that. So I want to paint my sword so it kind of encapsulates the artwork. Now here, I'm not doing that with the runs. I'm going to do them different colours on the shield. So how did Games Workshop do theirs? See, there's Games Workshop's there, which is nice. I like that. But I want to do mine a little bit different because I'm an idiot. It's Pointy and his mates. See, every picture of the artwork that you see, it's on fire. So that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. There won't be a painting thing in here. There is a painting thing, but there won't be a painting thing for the sword. That's guaranteed. That's got to be guaranteed. But I love Chaos. I love them. Chaos is so rad. Nope. There won't be anything in here for the sword. No, there isn't. Right, so I'm going to basically have to sort of work on this. Great. Right, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of Evil Sun Scarlet and a little bit of Corn Red just to darken that down a little bit. Probably a little bit more than that, to be fair. And then I'm just going to paint. I'm going to do the back of the blade. Yes, back of the blade first. Right. Because I always seem to do the front of the blade, and then if I don't like it, it'll always get better at the back. So I want to do some flames. So let's start by painting flame shapes on the blade. Hopefully this is going to work. I don't see how it will, because it's no, I don't like that. Don't like that at all. It's not working. I'm going to go to Instagram. I'm going to see if there's any other artists that have done Archeon and see how they've done the sword. Because it might be a simple case of just doing it. I could do like a molten sword effect. Right, well, let's have a look on Instagram, because that's I want the sword to be really, really cool, but let's have a look. Instagram, right? Hashtag Archeon, I think, is what I want. Hashtag Archeon. Archeon the Ever Chosen. There's 2.6 million posts. It's bound to be something amongst all of that I'm going to be able to find inspiration for. I mean, let's have a little look. What we can do is I can show you what I'm doing. Let's go for a bit of a screen capture. Boop. Boop. Nope, don't need to do that. I've already done it. Click on that. And then there, done. So what I'm going to do is I'm looking basically at what to do. So I'm looking for basically an Archeon the Ever Chosen blade. No, that's kind of what I'm looking at, but not like that. I don't really want that either. See, that one's quite interesting. That one's kind of got what I'm thinking. See, that's kind of what I'm looking at as well. There's one with that sort of type blade is what you can do. But you'd have to blend that out brighter in the middle, darker on the outside, and then do the sort of darker chipping type effect on the see, that sword's it's a bit too pale. It's a bit flat and generic. I need the blade to really stand out. So that's beautiful. I love that OSL. It's really nicely done. But the sword isn't. Sword's not what I want. I think I'm going to have to maybe go for the idea of that sort of... So that's kind of like how GW have done it. So brighter on the inside, darker on the outside. Could kind of work. Interesting, that one's blue. Ah, right. That's... How did they do... So they've had the flames going up that way. Interesting, I like this as well. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like this, sort of painted on the top. Okay. Non-metallic's not great, but it's not bad. That's interesting. I like that, actually. Yeah, I like that one. That one has definitely got my interest. I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot. I kind of could do something similar to that. Could definitely do something similar to that. So that's what we'll do. Let's have a little look-see. So, what you would want then is get a little bit of sort of feather this out here. Just feather that out. So you want that, so the idea then of what they're going for is to have the blades, the flames to come down this side of the blade, painted in. Which is interesting. And then having up here that sort of broken part of the blade, which I could do. Okay, and I'm going to get a little bit of that yellow just to start bringing that brightness up on this side. Just going to wet blend this in. Okay. Got some of that darker red. Just wet blending these colours in, like so. So what I want to do now is with this yellow, just start I think some Troll Slayer orange actually. Need a sort of brighter colour. And then essentially I'm just going to start freehanding flames on the blade. Actually, you know what? Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to go with my original idea, and I'm going to build up the highlights to the center, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the sort of broken, burnt, dark, metallic all down the edges. That's what I'm going to do. So I want some of that red. So we'll just do it from here. So basically just going to wet blend the sword down. And then I'm going to get some of that Mephiston red. Start wet blending that in the center. So I've done the cape, which I'm quite happy with. Cape's looking good. So now I just need this sword to be quite striking. Cheers, bud. Thank you very much. How are you? Okay. So, got some of that Evil Sun. So get some Mephiston red and some Evil Suns. It would help if I actually put some of those paints on my palette rather than try to use the dregs from the cloak. Duh. How are you, Ben? Okay, so I'm going to get some thanks very much. Okay, so Need to be very careful because you can't see it on camera, but there's a couple of wet dots just there. So if I was to start blending on top of that, it would just pull that paint off straight away, and that wouldn't be good. So there's just one there. Okay. So I'm just going to slowly now just very thin paint. Just going to bring that highlight up on this side. And then I'm just going to feather that out. We're going to glaze the edges down to quite a dark shadow. Going to be using some browns. I'm going to do the same on this side. Just bringing it up to the center. That's where I want most of the pigment. So just pull the brush into the center. And then just feather that out. Like so. And then we're just going to get a little bit more Evil Sun Scarlet, come in with another layer. So have you only just found my channel, Ben, or are you already a subscriber? Okay. Very carefully just feathering that colour out to the centre. And then we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. And I think this is just going to be rinse and repeat, slowly bringing up that highlight through the centre of the blade. Ah, right. Do I play World of Warcraft with you, Ben? Okay. That's probably where the Sigmund sends their regards. Ah, right. So now we need to push up that highlight a little bit more with some pure Evil Sun Scarlet. Let's go. And we'll start adding the oranges in. So again, the paint is really thin. Okay, so that's a bit too bright at that edge, so just get it still in the dark of the colour. Right. Okay. So let's just go on the other side. Now that I know what I want to do with the sword, I'm happy. I think trying to do like flames and that's just, yeah, pain in the arse. So let's just stick to doing the good old-fashioned highlight down the centre with some tight blends, I think. that shit will work. Okay, see, that has annoyed me. So I pulled that too far in. So I just need to darken that edge down a little bit. It's really annoyed me. Let's just darken that down. This paint is like virtually water, to be fair. Right, so now at the stage now we can start adding some oranges into this. No problem, buddy. I'll probably be on Warcraft later once I've finished here. But cheers for dropping in. Right, very carefully pull that highlight to the center. Very, 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 very small brush strokes. I'll do it for the other side. Just use the natural curve of the blade. Coming to that point. That's where you want the pigment to be. You're almost like glazing at this stage. So you're going to start to see like a very thin line forming down the center of the blade. That's because that's where the pigment is sitting on top of that line. You can kind of just see it when I tilt the blade. Just there. So that's going to naturally form because you're pulling the brush off top, leaving the pigment in place. That is okay. That's what you want. Okay, and then just going to lighten it up again. And then just like so. So let's go for some pure orange now. So this is really going to ramp that brightness up. So just be ultra careful. And if you do go too bright and too hard, you can smooth the transition out with some glazes of the previous mix. Just bring that down like that. So it's not the end of the world if you, when doing this, you come too far in and you make it too bright. If you do, you can just get some of the previous and just glaze over that slightly, or use a smaller brush if that's what you need to do. That would help. So what I'm going to do is we're going to be adding a little bit of yellow into this now. Could go for some like Fire Dragon Bright, But I don't know if I need to go that bright. I think the yellow will give me the brightness that I need. So we'll try it with a little bit of the yellow. So again, just very carefully, just going to bring that orange on this side, focusing on the center of the blade, just pushing that highlight up. You really start to see it popping now. It's nice and smooth. I mean, I could probably get away with doing a sort of mid glaze there. In fact, what I am going to do is I'm going to glaze that. Make that glaze. Just get rid of the excess. So always get rid of the excess when you're doing glazes. Use the back of your hand or a kitchen roll or whatever you need. So that's a little bit rough for my liking. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glaze over that transition, just to strengthen it a little bit and just to smoothen it out. I'll do it this side as well. Remember, glazes are some of the best tools in your toolkit, especially for smoothing things out and getting your blends as tight as you can. I mean, I really want the sword to look good because it's such an iconic weapon in the game. I mean, it's like, it is the Slayer of Kings. So I'm just going to add some yellow to, yeah, yellow to the orange is great. I'm going to check the music before we start on that. In fact, what I'll do is I'll just do this. Still trying to get my head around how and what I can play on my music in regards to YouTube and streaming on YouTube. On Twitch I could kind of get away with doing some things because I just delete the VOD, but I'm not too sure what I can do while I'm live on YouTube, to be fair. So it's probably best just to play the game and not do anything stupid. Right. So we've added some yellow into that orange, so we've made it quite nice and bright. At this stage I'm going to use a smaller brush because I really want this to be sort of in the center. I have just made a little bit of a mistake here, but you know what? I'm going to keep it because it kind of could be a little bit of a flame flicking out. So I'm going to keep that. But I am going to get that edge highlight in there. Let's do that edge highlight here. Okay. So again, being ultra careful. There you go. It's really starting to pop now. So it's got quite dark on the edges, which is kind of what you want. You kind of want that. Is it as good as the heavy metal teams? Don't know. Am I proud of it? 100%. I will though say that you should never try to compare yourself to other painters. That there leads to madness. Okay, we're going to ramp up that orange with a little bit more yellow. So really starting to punch into the sort of the brighter tones now. Oh yeah, it's looking good. Indeedy. Okay. Yeah, that highlight's gone up. Just gonna okay, so we've got some pure hotness going on now. This layer is pretty much almost just pure yellow. So do I do the edges? See, at this point, the yellow is pretty much just sitting in the center of the blade. Not happy with that. Smooth that out a little bit. Same as this. So I'm going to get a little bit of black, and we're going to just tip the edges, sort of glaze down the edges and things. So just while I'm deciding what to do with the very center, we're just going to sort of get some black glazes on these, the very tips of these. Get some edge highlights in black. Just add some contrast. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of Dawn Yellow. So Dawn Yellow is ultra light bright. It's like a lemon yellow if you went to regards to Vallejo. So I want to get this sword done before we finish for there. So I want to get that quite thin. Just to start. As Angel Grinaldes would say, I'm now going to add some luminosity to the piece. And that man's a master, so. Some very thin lines. Just picking out some edge highlights on the bottom parts of these little sort of holes in the sword. I mean, you could use white, but I think white should only really be used in this instance for the more extreme points. Okay, very carefully just continue working that highlight up the center of the blade. This should really sort of ramp up that brightness. Kind of give the blade that warm, burning look. And then this is where you come in with the white and just add it where you need it. That's always look good as well. Use a picture and use a photo. You can turn that picture into black and white. Yeah, it's nice. But what I've just, even with the picture, what I've noticed is it's very dark, and then it goes very bright, sort of in that tone. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make some glazes with some Fire Dragon Bright. I'm just going to very carefully just glaze up, just try and add a little bit of brightness. And this will sort of just brighten the outside area of the highlight and sort of create that transition into the darker area a little bit better, because right now it's pretty stark. And just smoother that out a little bit. Because this is a glaze, it'll be dry in about 10 seconds. And you can just put as many layers as you need just to smooth that transition. The brightness of the Dawn Yellow will stay. If you need a little bit more, just get some more of the glaze, take it off. And then just glaze that up again a bit more. I reckon I'll probably need to do quite a few more of these layers just to get that transition out a little bit more and smooth that blade down. Like I said, I really want this blade to look good because it is the Slayer of Kings. Yeah, I'm going over that center line, but you can still see it. It kind of just blends it in. Softens that transition. Looks so much better now. Yeah, looking so much better. We can get like a yellow and glaze the very center if we really need to. But yeah, that's looking so much better now. I'm so happy with that. It's subtle, Now a lot of the yellow highlights have disappeared because of the bright orange, but you've kind of got that more warmer blend now in the blade, just with the glazes. Again, we can come in with the glazes of Uriel yellow, but you don't want to go too hard because with the orange, because you don't want to turn the center of the blade too orange. Okay, so now what we're going to do is going to get some of that Uriel yellow. I'm going to make a glaze of that. Then we're just going to brighten the center part up now. And then we'll be able to come back in with the dawn yellow for that final highlight. So we're just pushing those transitions a bit more. Like so. The bottom part we can keep the way it is. It's mainly this top part that we want. Let's keep that glaze to the center. Just warm that up. We get that nice transition and sort of glowy effect on the blade because we've got the bright colours from the initial layers and the initial blending. All we're doing now is just pushing that transition up to a brighter point and smoothing it out. Kind of get that real sort of glowy effect going on. Like that. So what we can do now, let's get some of that dawn yellow. You can probably mix that in with some of that Uriel yellow actually. Okay, it's kind of getting like an egg yolk type look, but that's okay. And then we're going to very carefully, we want to keep this at its highest point in the center. And then this is literally now that sort of high point in the sword we just need to put back in, because those glazes will ultimately get rid of that. So we're going to have to come back in and put them back in, which is fine. So I'm just using the very tip of my size 1. I use Series 33 brushes from Rosemary & Co. There's a link in the description. So we're really now sort of putting that highlight in the center. Really get that flamey sword looking. Oh yeah, starting to look good. So we started off with layers, and then we worked into some blends with some glazes, and now we're just going back in now with our final edge highlights, just to push up the volumes and the values on that blade. Like so. Because there's the white now, the camera's not liking it. It's going to really hate me in a minute because I'm going to get the white out. And then we're going to finish off with a white highlight. Very carefully. Down the center. Don't need too much white. This is Skill 75 white. Just going to get a little bit into that yellow because I don't want it pure white. Need to thin it. The problem with scale white is it can get quite thick when it comes out. Just want to thin that down slightly. Okay. So now I'm going to have to do the other side, but I'm quite happy with that. I could probably get a little bit of white and just do a couple of white light spots. On the sword. So mainly here. I'll just get this. The camera doesn't really like the white for some unknown reason. It has a hard time with it. So I'm just going to carefully just And then just here. I am happy with that sword. Well, this side of it at least. Right, I think we're going to call that. It's over 2 hours, nearly 2.5 hours. Done a lot of work on Archeon. Pardon me. We really have. It's been very good. So let's have a look. We've got the crape done. Pretty good. So we need to do the back of that blade, which I'll do off camera. And we got the front of the blade done. So then I need to highlight that gold and do the leather on the grip. But yeah, I'm happy with that. It's pretty decent. Got to finish the horns off and then the hair, and then he's done. We'll get the shield done. So we'll probably end up doing the shield Tuesday night. And then I can get the shield glued in place, and then he's ready as soon as the big mount is done. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. So thank you everybody who has joined in. That's a good point actually. Does my old credits work? Go away. Stop trying to get me to buy things, you bastard. I don't even know if my credits work on YouTube. Let's see, we've not tried them. Let's have a little look at them. That's it. Done. Yay, they work, but there's nothing there because we've had no new followers or subscribers or anything like that. But sure, they work. Ha. Right, cool. I'm going to call it here, and I will be back Tuesday night. If you like what I do and you are watching this back on YouTube, feel free to hit that subscribe button and make sure that you ring the bell, especially for that algorithm. YouTube really likes it when you do that. And feel free to share it around. And I do try to stream 2 times a week, a Tuesday night at 8 o'clock British Standard Time and a Sunday at 12 o'clock lunchtime British Standard. And I also do tutorials and other short form content on my channel. So if you like it, like and subscribe. If not, okay. Right, I will see everybody later.